Honestly.
What the fuck, man?
Like, everything that could have gone wrong, technically,
has gone wrong.
You know what it is? I posted a photo in the Element server like an hour and a half ago saying, all systems go. Everything's working.
Yes, and
I'll do it.
It's not.
And it's all just gone in the bin.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Anyway. Hello, willkommen, bienvenue, konnichiwa, ni hao, jambo, marhaba, bar. It's time for the Honest Inquisition, episode 284 on Sunday, the 11th of June, 2023. I'm Phil.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Matt.
And tonight we're very happy to be joined by Dom and Chris from Sheep Farm. How are we doing, chaps?
Evening, gents. All right?
Oh, thank God we can hear you.
We can hear you, and it's going somewhere.
Oh, shit. I should have gone like this.
Yes, I might have actually
left the room for some more heroin at that
So
point.
horrible.
Yes,
So horrible.
Oh, there's nothing worse, is there? I mean, how do you guys do it? Do you just use Zoom, basically, and then do you record the Zoom video, if you like, use that for your audio?
I'd rather not confuse Dom with all my technical expertise, because he didn't really understand much like things like that. It's best not to involve him. You're just going to confuse him.
Yeah.
Main problem is I've had to wait to open my bottle of wine. That's been the main problem.
I'll be sitting.
I was just saying, guys. Do you remember that infamous Bill Clinton video where it showed an outtake of him having makeup put on and he would aim killed out of his brain? Yeah. Do you remember that? Wouldn't it have been funny if you'd have come on and I'd have had some? If I'd have thought ahead, and I got my missus to do that.
Yeah, hey, Dom were telling you off before, Chris, about opening your witch piss.
No, he said wait until the show's live. So I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a nice bottle of Rioja. Yeah.
Is that part of the ritual now for you guys, do you think?
Yeah, even if it's 2 in the afternoon.
So at certain times you don't open
No, it's usually because it's quite usually late evening when we start. So I've been waiting to open my bottle of wine.
That's Spanish, isn't it? Is it Spanish?
Okay, yeah.
Rioja.
A bottle of Rioja, please. So, first thing we should say before everyone switches off is New Horizons. Dom, Chris, you're going to be at New Horizons. Lytham St coming up.
Yeah, we're over here on Neck at Woods, so to speak. Well, not probably a bit further away, but yeah, what we're going to be doing is we've been doing the Huxley Brave New World Order series, and we're going to play an hour of the next one, which will be episode 4, and an hour of the 5th one as well. So, but there's 6 hours about 6 hours in total. So we're not going to play all that, but roughly 2 hours.
And what's the actual video? Is it like, is it you talking on screen, or is it
it's
like
me and him talking through with the images behind it to back up basically what we're saying, which we do on the Brave New World Order series that we've got on. We've put it on YouTube. It's YouTube friendly, is that? So we've done 3 at the minute. Yeah, in theory at the minute, and we've done 3. The last one was the Doors of Deception about the band, the Doors.
Nice.
Do you know, I started reading that this week. I started reading The Doors of Perception this week.
Yeah. Oh, really? I've never read it, actually. So what's it like?
It's, it's trippy.
It's trippy. I was going to say, it's trippy.
I mean, he's a hell of a writer. Like, I've not done, like, the level of research that you have. I don't know anything about his background or anything. So I'm just judging it, this guy's written a book, so I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
And he's an incredible writer. He's like command of language and his, the words, I had to look up words. What's that word mean? So, yeah, and he sort of describes the mescaline. It's mescaline he was into for this book, and he's describing the trip, and he's sort of describing how he got lost in the folds of his flannel trousers.
Yeah.
It's like, some people think of like ayahuasca experiences or DMT or things like that, and they think of it being like a really insular thing, like you get lost inside your mind. And when he was doing the mescaline trip, one of the investigators said, "Close your eyes, tell me what you see when you close your eyes." And he's like, "I don't want to do that." He was fascinated with everything that was around him. So he was fascinated with 4 chairs. With 4 legs making a chair, the form, like a platonic form of a chair, what it means. And then he looked at his trousers and he got fucking completely engrossed in his trousers and lost within the folds of the material. And
I hate it when that happens.
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know, I'm coming at this sort of fresh, I don't understand sort of his What would you say is role in sort of the New World Order and that sort of thing?
Social programming, Phil.
Well, yeah.
Social programming on a level that we got to 2020 and the pots and pans were banging on the doorstep. That's how lobotomized and drugged up that we've become. But a lot of people have become. Let's just say, But the Huxleys were a prominent family. Even the genealogy goes back to Edward III via their mother, Julia Huxley. And they were surrounded by not just those two, but the family with all the family was intermarried to the Darwins, the Galtons, and the Wedgwoods, etc. So these people were connected people, and they're sort of like within the fabric. They're not the billionaire type, famous, the ones like that traveling around but they were just as important, if not more important. And their grandfather, Thomas Huxley, was Darwin's bulldog, they called him, because he was the guy going out shouting about Darwin's work. And he actually came up with flying dinosaurs, or was one of them that came up with a flying dinosaur idea, even before anybody had found a bone, if they did find a bone, that is. So, yeah, it seems to be that Sir Julian Huxley was the founder of UNESCO, the World Wildlife Fund, and the people they were setting these things up with were prominent people like the Rockefellers and things like that. And also their cousin set up the BBC. He was the first chief engineer of the BBC. So yeah, it's the fall with it. So it's not just about Aldous Huxley was the start of my research, but that's certainly not the focus, is it, Chris? And then we're looking at like the Doors, for the band The Doors. They were called after the Doors of Perception, and so then that was a sort of social engineering part of the 60s. So that book formed the hippie movement, if you like, or was one part of forming the hippie movement. And he was part of the Esalen Clinic as well, an institute, sorry. They based their ideas on an institute he set up just after the Second World War. That was Aldous Huxley set up just after World War II. Another institute that was based on, exactly like Chris said, social engineering.
You look at Jim Morrison's demise, and that looks very shady as well. Very suspect.
Wasn't his dad like an admiral or something, Jim Morrison?
Yeah, he was an admiral for Gulf of Tonkin.
The Gulf of Tonkin incident. Yeah. So that's what drew the US
Vietnam.
into the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
and Jim Morrison's dad happened to be an admiral who was there at the time.
Well, it's even
nothing to see there.
His uncle was even higher up the pecking order. He was Jim Morrison's dad was a rear admiral, and his uncle was an admiral. He was buried at Arlington, him and his wife, with full military rah-rah. And Morrison's bloodline goes back to the aristocracy of Scotland, going back to all the royal families and whatever in Scotland. And well, interesting. The keyboardists were the most interesting one out of the lot, wasn't it, Chris?
Ray,
for me anyway.
I can't pronounce
Ray
it.
Manzarek.
I can never say his last name. Ray
Manzarek. Yeah, he was recruited into, apparently was tricked into it, but whether that's true or not, I don't know. He was recruited into Army intelligence before he set up the Doors.
Shit, it reminds me of that Simpsons episode where Lieutenant Smash is trying to set up the boy band, but they're all actually being recruited into the Navy.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
What a shock the Simpsons deliver again.
And for some reason, Ray Manzarek, he went in the army, but he refused to cut his hair and shave his beard off. But they just let him carry on.
Yeah, growing his hair. He turned into a hippie while he was...
Before hippies were invented, he was a hippie.
Yeah. But they took him to a base, Okinawa Island, which was a famous island in World War II. But they had a listening base there, and that's why he went there, to join this secret listening. It sounds like the Oswald story, which we got into that a little bit as well. And because JFK were killed, died on the same day as Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis, we get into a bit about Oswald as well, and found some interesting stuff up about Oswald while he was there. So it's not just about the Huxleys, is what I'm trying to say. It's like the next three part the next one that's been released. The next 3 pieces are about George Orwell.
Wow.
So I started doing a 30-minute. It was going to be a 30-minute section in episode 4, and it's turned into 7 hours.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's interesting because I'm like reading this. It's an old print of The Doors of Perception. I'm guessing it's maybe 40 years old or something like that. You know, whenever they re-release or reprint an old book, they always usually have a foreword, like a modern author of the times foreword, and sometimes a biography of the author. And they're talking about Huxley's family and stuff, and how he was. There were sort of great expectations because of his family history. And I had no idea. Like, I had no idea about his family. I didn't know that he came from a family that would have great expectations of a young man, you know. And so that's interesting that you've sort of turfed that out. But it's go on.
There are a lot of mental problems within the family as well. Aldous and Sir Julian had major mental issues, which leads you back to that point where, when you think about Aldous Huxley's mentor was H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells was mentored by Thomas Huxley's grandfather. And then Aldous Huxley taught George Orwell at Eton for a while as well. And it's like they're passing the baton on to these people. But ironically, George Orwell, his genealogy goes back to Edward III, exactly like Aldous Huxley's and Sir Julian Huxley's via their mother, Julia Arnold. And also, just a caveat, just to wrap that up, Julia Arnold and her sister, as children, they had Lewis Carroll was taking pictures of them as children, and Lewis Carroll's been sort of outed as a bit of a weirdo.
It's right about talking line for a start.
Yeah. Yeah. And then C.S. Lewis was involved.
I'll get me Lewis's mixed up. I'm thinking about that guy from
Alice in Wonderland, the other one.
Yeah,
Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, but then C.S. Lewis is involved. Obviously, he died in on the same day as Aldous Huxley did. And he was best friends with Tolkien.
I was going to say, is Tolkien involved as well?
Tolkien and apparently taught. Let me get this right. George Orwell's first wife, who was a psychologist. Seems to be another theme running through that Aldous Huxley married a psychologist, and so did George Orwell. Wow. Yeah, without giving too much away on that. And so they were seemed to be part of some sort of operation, because they were surrounded, especially Orwell, he was surrounded by intelligence operatives, wasn't he, Chris?
Do you think these people were targeted by the intelligence operatives because they were subversive types, or are you saying that they were actual recruits into the military?
Well, George Orwell was. He was part of the IRD, the Information Research Department, which is an intelligence operation, and his wife was part of the Ministry of Information. His first wife, Eileen O'Shaughnessy.
How ironic. How Orwellian does that sound? The Ministry of Information.
Installation.
Installation. That's what we'll have next week. The Ministry of Installation. Yeah. Get your heat pumps and get your insulation in.
Did they all go to Cambridge as well? Was it Cambridge Tolkien taught at, or Oxford?
Well, a lot of them went to Oxford and Cambridge or Oxford. And that's where a lot of these intelligence recruits were recruited, obviously, and a lot of them were close to the aspiring within Cambridge, the Cambridge Five, I think they were called. Like, they were working for the USSR apparently, and so a lot of them, I think Eileen O'Shaughnessy or Orwell's second wife, worked with I forget what it's called now. Anyway, one of the main ones who got either locked up and sent down or defected to Russia. So they were working well within the intelligence operations. And what we found out was a lot of these professors that were taught there were obviously recruiting agents.
Yes.
Dom, have you gone any sort of further forward? I'm thinking, is there a break in this sort of flow? And who's around now who would be sort of back linked to those channels?
Well,
Philip Schofield.
Well, we would say he was probably one that was probably. Well, again, the next one's called Mockingbird. So the Orwell one's called Mockingbird. It's a 3-part within this series. There's another 3-part series. So, and Mockingbird it doesn't just talk about Orwell. It talks about all the people that were journalists around that particular time. So if you wind it forward and you look at what we're looking at now, not everybody within Mockingbird knew that was actually part of an operation. So they were being controlled unknowingly. And that probably went on a lot, didn't it, Chris, with a lot of the stuff. And so who would be part of something like that now? I mean, blooming heck, what we've just been through, you could probably name loads. But some people who spring to mind is the SAGE behavioural science team, like Susan Mickey. Yep. And Susan Mickey, her genealogy goes all the way back to royal bloodlines as well. So she's definitely...
She's fully signed up. She's not even. That's not even.
Not even hiding from it. But yeah, she was caught. A nickname at Oxford was Stalin's nanny. That's how much of a communist she was.
Literally a communist.
She's has she not sort of come out and said that she's part of them?
Yeah. Yeah. So they gave her a job at the World Health Organization. Gave her a promotion. Here you go.
Well, we know who runs it.
You'll fit in nicely here, Susan.
Who was it? Actually asked her outright, didn't he, on TV? What's his name? Richard Madeley. He actually asked her outright if she were a communist.
Yeah,
and she went.
Good old Richard.
That's got nothing to do with anything. I don't see what.
Well, yeah, I think it does. You know, 80 million deaths in the 20th century just signed up to Chairman Mao. You know, I think we could do to know that if you're going to be in charge of public health policy
for the world.
For the world. Oh well, gosh. I mean, there's been all sorts coming out about the WHO this week, hasn't there? And the have you seen the thing they've been doing with the EU? They've taken the EU's. What was it called? The COVID pass thing, and they're rolling it out for the world now. The WHO. Tedros announced it this week.
I thought we'd stop that now.
Oh no, these things don't stop. Okay. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Mission creep every time.
Damn it.
Yeah. I don't know where we're going with that, but you know, it's kind of depressing. That's the thing I like about listening to you two is that you can have a laugh about this stuff and make light of it, and that's what we need. We need
to laugh at it, otherwise you got mad.
To be fair, it's not intentional. It's just that
you're not intentionally funny.
That's how we. No, not intentionally funny at all.
That was never the intention when we started. Was it? No, it was just to talk and get.
I suppose it's just your own way, isn't it? That's how we were when we were kids, taking piss out of each other and having a laugh about pretty dark stuff, probably at times, but. Slaughterhouse humour, as Chris calls it.
Well, we were brought up on a farm, so my dad were a butcher, so it was literally slaughterhouse humour.
Yeah, you couldn't get much more slaughterhouse.
We did laugh at the darker side of things, didn't we?
Yeah. So going back to what you said there, Ben, how many people could you choose from?
Jeremy Vines, I would say.
Yeah, Jeremy Vine. Oh yeah, O'Brien, ironically, an LBC.
There's so many influences, isn't there? In
James O'Brien. James O'Brien is definitely, he has a stench of intel agency.
Mariana Spring, she's got links to some kind of intelligence, governmental intelligence agency, whether she knows it or not. She's certainly been using a specific group, I forget what they're called now, something strategic, something or other.
CDU, isn't it? Counter Disinformation Unit.
Well, but there is another group. It's like a charity, and they're getting funded from all sorts of different areas, and and they're linked to intelligence. So
I think there's a lot of there's a lot of finger pointing at the BBC at the moment, rightfully so, and sort of the mainstream ITV, BBC, Sky News, all that sort of jazz. And yeah, absolutely, you can pick loads of guys out there and girls and be like, they're definitely dodgy, sketchy, whatever. But if I was a shadowy agent looking to send a message out, I'd be wanting to infiltrate the places where people think actually all these guys who kind of got their head screwed on have moved over to these kind of alt media platforms, even like GB News and Talk TV and whatever. And a lot of people think, oh, that's just for whack jobs or whatever. But that's where I'd be focused if I wanted to put in a message now, because that's where everyone who is kind of thinking about this stuff is shifting towards.
Is that a real beard, Ben? Because you could have been in disguise, actually.
Well, you're right.
We've been infiltrated.
The job's already done, isn't it? On the masses, the masses who consume the mainstream, the job's done.
Yeah,
they did. Like you mentioned, the clapping on a Thursday night. I mean, it all worked. It worked fine. The 2 meters, the muzzles, it all worked. They all obeyed. Follow.
See those
I was
stickers.
only following the orders.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
so you're right. You know, that this is the last like sort of 10-15% of holdouts. That's where you would go. You would go to Rumble, Odyssey, Rockfin, all these alternative.
Yeah,
platforms
that's like the
and
next
target them.
level, isn't it? Because you've got, one step from mainstream is your GB News and you talk TVs and whatever.
Yeah.
Your Times Radio.
I think because humans inertly like to follow things, whether it's a football team or a film actor or whatever, that we can be easy controlled because we can lead down a path by people. That's why it's good to be individual, I suppose. Like you guys are individual. Me and Chris are.
I don't see GB News and Times as any different. To be fair, just
No.
just not as in your face. But I know what you mean.
Fringe magnets.
Yeah,
That's what they are. Fringe magnets.
Fringe
They get
magnets is a great phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for years. But
kinda
fringe
makes
magnets,
sense,
where they collect the edges of who we are. I mean, once you've I read a great article by I keep forgetting his name. Ian is called. He writes some really good articles. He wrote it on for Richard D. Hall, and he was basically saying that within one of these BBC hit pieces, they couldn't understand why people were doing this for nothing or very little money. Like they might sell a few books and earn a bit of a living, but they're not doing it to buy mega yachts or whatever. They can't get their head around why people would do all this for nothing, spread the word and talk about it. They don't understand what makes people like us
not
tick
just
and
not
people
just
in
that,
the chat.
but the negative consequences as well.
Yes.
Of being censored or being chucked off social media, being shunned by your family, your friends, your neighbours, all the rest of it. It's not just.
Why would we do that?
Yeah. I can't imagine why they can't get their heads around it.
Yeah, because it doesn't compute to a psycho, does it? Because they don't think like that. They don't, the people running this shit show don't think like we do, so they don't understand. They're too overtaken in a parasitical way, aren't they? Whereas we don't. I don't care if nobody listens to what we do. We said that at the beginning, didn't we, Chris?
Well,
We
if
weren't doing
they're
it to
looking
get views or
they're looking
views or
for
anything.
surface level, they're looking for money, and then second after that's control. And none of us are looking for that, so that's why they can't understand it, because that's our psychopathic nut job thinks.
See, most of the reason people like us do this is because we think it's the right thing to do. And that concept of that sort of moral concept doesn't even enter the equation for most people.
Yeah.
It's what's in it for me? What can I get? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also people doing this, unlike most things that happen, that there are different echelons of society out there within our group. There's no class buffer. Like when in the 80s when it were coal mines, it were working class movement, unions against Thatcherism, yada yada yada. This isn't like that. When you meet people, you get emails off them. You meet some people who are architects or some people who are whatever, own companies, etc., etc., and some people that have everyday jobs as well. There's no one person. That makes it even harder for these people to track, I think, and understand what ticks. Well, hang on a minute, they're Middle England, got everything.
It's worse. It can be fractured within a family or even a household, can it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
It's decentralized, which makes it harder to button down.
Yeah, we're certainly the odd ones out. There's no doubt about it. They did do. I can't remember where I got it from, but I think they were a behavioural science department where they worked out there was a hardcore of 8% of people that would never have the arm spears, regardless. So even though 28% never had it, whether that's a true figure or not, we'll stick with that one though. I think it was 22% didn't have it. There were an hardcore of about 5 to 8% that they knew would never have it, even if you dragged them out of the house by the lack of air. By their arse air.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because it's just all of everything is just an alternate way of thinking, and maybe stepping out your lane every so often. But that has been embraced for years. Alternative movements, alternative lifestyles. Great. So why is it so?
This is a bit different, though, isn't it, Ben? Because communism was inventing a fabric to control people. Fascism and what we live in, and democracy is a control element. We're not that part, are we? We're not a movement as such. They want to class it as a movement, and we're not a movement, are we?
No. Well,
Yeah, it's like
everyone has different, like you say, individual ideas. My idea
course.
of alternative isn't the same as Phil's or Matt's or yours.
we read that article out last week. It was something. It was a news article, a mainstream news article, but they mentioned the term conspiracy theory 7 times or something in the article. They
That's
were just
the
hammering
label,
it in.
isn't it?
They're hammering the messaging in. This is
Aesthetic
wrong.
now,
This
isn't it?
is wrong thing. Don't think like this. This is this label that the CIA invented after the JFK assassination. But whatever. But so don't take this seriously. Don't think about it. So they just hammer this message.
It's funny how they parallel it with the right-wing extremists, because I've never met a right-wing extremist. Don't know if you've ever met one.
I know. Good. How do you define a right-wing extremist?
They sound like right cunts as well, so they're probably going to punch on the nose.
But apparently they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Like, you can't walk down the street without bumping into one.
Well, I mean, I think we ought to ring a fact-checking company up. There's about 100 now, I think, around the world. We did some research. Well, I did some research on it, didn't I, Chris? We were going to do a presentation on it, and there's 100 fact-checking companies around the world. There's about seven or 8 in this country alone.
If you're telling the truth, you don't need to check any facts, do you?
Because it's an industry now, right? The Soviet Union, it sparked a new industry, and as soon as there's money there, especially state money, because that comes with no strings attached, like we saw with all the testing and all that bullshit, and all the money that got binned, just billions and billions.
That we're now paying for.
Our kids and our grandkids will be paying for it. That's the sad thing. Like,
people are definitely paying for it now, with these interest rates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's an Indiana Jones style warehouse somewhere with all those bloody ventilators.
God, the ventilator things.
Yeah, right at the
Oh.
beginning, everyone forgot about the ventilator.
Yeah, we're going to get McLaren in, Dyson.
Dyson we're gonna do
They've
it,
reverse engineered them into air source heat pumps.
Yeah, for the old global climate warming change. If you don't kill you with the thingy, we'll get you with that.
I slapped on the side of your house.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough idle chit chat, because for a serious moment now, Chris, I need to ask you, how many dragon dildos have you made this week?
Unfortunately, due to pressure from my wife, I wasn't able to go forward with my dragon dildo business.
Really? Oh, they're like the 50 quid a shot, though.
I know. You've had a look, haven't you, Phil?
Yeah, of course. I had a look, and I was creasing myself listening to you, and I thought,
the comments are the best bits.
50 quid a shot, like, I've got faith in you, Chris. You can do better than copying dragon dildos.
Oh, no, do my own gaping gob dildos. That's
A gaping gob and a dragon dildo. Can't get much better.
I think you could do your own sort of sheep farm dildos. And I
told Jacko's going to do them on OnlyFans, isn't he? Test them on OnlyFans.
Well, I took the liberty of mocking up a quick design of a prototype for a sheep farm dildo. So here it is coming in now. It's a Sheepinator. It's a Sheepinator 2030, fully ESG compliant. You like it, no?
Not in this heat.
No?
£33.
Well, obviously, £33, yeah. And
It's got a mop fitted. Yeah.
Makes you go mad. Nice.
And what is that made from? It's not sheep's wool, is it?
It's 100% recycled widgets. It's probably made from. And nice. I mean, a lot of people listen. They don't actually watch on YouTube or wherever. They listen to the podcast. So I made a quick sort of promo reel, an audio promo reel for you. You're welcome to have this.
God.
Nice.
This is the Sheepinator 2030. It makes me go, bah. Fully ESG compliant and only £33. Available exclusively at sheepfarm.co.uk. Get one. Go and fuck yourself.
Honestly, you'll sell millions of
I mean,
them.
that was pretty
Who
good.
did the
actually.
voiceover?
It said the missus.
Fantastic.
That's brilliant.
33 quid's quite cheap
got
as well.
thrown-
You don't want to fleece anyone, do you?
He threw me in the bus with that because I told him that story.
You
in
must be
confidence.
kidding me. Sorry, go on. Sorry, Chris.
No, I was saying he threw me under the bus with that story because I told him in confidence, and he just brought it up when we were doing one of his podcasts. I didn't expect.
Well, I think we've got now an array of. We could do a pearl necklace and a dragon dildo. A Richard Branson pearl necklace.
I don't know if you notice, every now and again he throws me under the bus and just fires something like that out. Tell us that dragon dildo story, he said. To tell me over there, Chris. I'm like, what?
Those are the best bits, man. That's the best bits.
They are.
It's real, you know.
Yeah.
Real me squirming.
So anyway, New Horizons. We're talking about New Horizons. It's a week. Is it? It's not. It's not tomorrow. It's a week tomorrow, isn't it?
Week tomorrow, yeah.
What day is it? The 17th?
19th, I think it is. 19th.
Monday the 19th.
Yeah.
Yes, all you out there who are in Lancashire, you should come and say hello. I'm going to go.
Northwest.
I'm in Lancashire.
I know, I'm in Lancashire. I'm going to go.
I might go. What time are you going down, lads? Are you going early for?
Well, we're there at
the booze.
Well, it starts at 7, so we'll have to get there a bit earlier, won't we?
I heard about New Horizons like before the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of interesting speakers on. And the thing is, it's a Monday night. It's a bit awkward for me with family and work and shit. So I never went. And then the Soviet shit happened, and then it all got shut down.
Yeah.
And I never heard anything until you mentioned it on your show. New Horizons. Wow, bloody hell. Yeah. So I went back to the website, and they had the past speakers from this year. So it started back up this year. Mark Devlin was there, like.
Yeah, I went to see him
6 weeks ago.
I went over. Yeah.
Completely missed it.
Actually contacted me last year as part of my clinic. They wanted me to go over and talk about ozone therapy and stuff. And he didn't realise that we were sheep farm because it was some listener who had been to the clinic, etc., and told him about it. So when we went over, Mark Devlin told them that it was sheep farm. And anyway, yeah, so that's how it started, really. Chris is not really that up for it, I've got to say, are you, Chris?
I'm not really into public speaking in any form.
Well, we're not public speaking, really, are we? We're playing a video.
Well, yeah, no, it'll be fine, yeah.
Are you going to do like a Q&A?
Well, that's what I've told him, anyway.
Like a Q&A after or something?
Who knows what's going to happen?
Probably.
An interpretive dance.
Interpretive dance. One art form I never understood interpretive dance.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think I want to.
Well, you'll know about Rudolf Steiner, won't you?
Yeah.
You'll have done some research on him. He had this system called eurythmy, and it was like, oh my god!
It's like movement. It was like the OA, wasn't it? A bit.
It was like like flapping wings and all the rest of it, and it's like seeing the music and interpret it and dance. And you can watch videos on YouTube of like eurythmy schools because you know he had the Steiner schools, like this sort of parallel school system, and then he did this thing with eurythmy where we teach, well, not him because he's long gone, but like we teach people to express themselves through the method of eurythmy.
With the power of music.
It's wild. It's like I couldn't get my head around it. We had Terry Boardman on, didn't we?
Yes,
like,
we did. Yeah.
About a year ago, and I was reading the book at the time. And he was like, and like he's an expert on Rudolf Steiner. He's like, yeah, probably leave the eurythmy to one side. Like, stick to the other stuff.
Can't get everything right, can you?
No. There's so much to go at, isn't there? There's so many interesting authors and thinkers, and you know, I sort of get lost in the past and in like history and stuff, and previous thinkers, previous authors, and whatnot. So I think it's important that you're bringing this stuff to the modern age. Like you know, look at what's happening, what's going on back in the day, and then bringing it forward to today and seeing what impacts that might have on our future.
Well, certainly the controllers are thinking, as we know, intergenerational planning. I mean, we might make a plan to go on holiday at some point or do something at some point. Or even if you have a business, you might make a 1 or 2 or 3 year plan if you're lucky, but you don't make a 100-year plan. And that's what seems to happen with these things. When they came up with the eugenics programs and things like that, I mean, what's happening now was part of that early day eugenics thinking. And we're seeing it live happening in front of our eyes, aren't we?
Well, you talked about Darwin's bulldog, Huxley. We're seeing the ripple effects of that now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Big ripple effects.
Like I said, the Huxleys were married all the way into that family. And the Wedgwoods and the Peasers founded Barclays Bank. So, there's a lot of these families that were... and we were talking about the Wedgwoods, weren't we? I don't know if you've come across a book by James Shelby Downard, called what's it called, Chris?
Carnival of Life and Death.
Yeah, Carnivals of Life and Death, and he talks of. So we talked to Wedgwood about the Wedgwoods. Obviously, they made pottery, and some of the bone china that was made. A lot of the masons it was actually made out of human bone as well.
Wow.
Some of it. So obviously, animal bone. But in the book, he talks of a place where he went to, a massive incinerator that were obviously killing people and throwing them in and making china out of them and using them as some sort of ritual gift.
Bloody China again.
Yeah, they're all over it, aren't they?
China.
We're making China Russian dolls, lone China Russian dolls. Hit the jackpot then.
What is it? There's a film on Netflix. I forgot what it's called now. It's a dystopian, everything's gone disease in the future.
Oh, is it Moonfall?
It'll never happen.
No, not Moonfall. He's got Star Trek guy in it, Kirk in it. And I put it on.
Well, it's Shatner. Fuck it, he's getting on now, isn't he?
No, new guy. What's he called?
Come in peace.
Chris Pine. Yeah. And I put it on just out of interest, just to see. And I think it came out 2009 or something. And everything's knackered as it is, and there's a disease or whatever. And they're driving down the road. There's a guy strung to a telephone post, and he's got a sign around him that says, "China did it," and it's a Chinese guy, obviously. 2000, I think it was 2009 for 2010 film. Just to bring up China.
So is that predictive programming?
I would imagine it. Yeah, it seems it. It had everything else in there: mask wearing, disease, cure, and all the others. I didn't watch much of it because it was shite, but I just dipped in.
God, there's a film I remember like that where it ended up with. I can only remember the ending because it affected me so much. But it was basically some guy shut in his house, or family shut in their house. No, family were outside. The guy was in the house. And he put a big tent over it and had to fumigate the house and basically kill him inside. But it sounds flippant now because I'm not explaining it shit.
They killed him to save him.
No, he died. And his family were distraught, obviously.
Is it old on
I can't remember what the fucking film was. It was probably...
Is it called The Fumigator?
I saw it in the cinema it must be 2004, 5.
You went to the cinema to watch that film?
Yeah, I was a student.
Didn't ring any bell.
Free passes.
Right.
No, I can't. I've not been able to find it since.
Have you made this film up?
I might have done, actually.
Is this a figment of your imagination?
Quick, everyone forget that. I need to write something down.
I've got a screenplay. get Disney on the phone.
Well, there you go. Look, right
at your door. Maybe that was it. Yeah.
All right, someone actually do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, Amy.
I'm going to find that out.
And Patrick.
That's at your door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
And they did it in ET apparently.
I'll let you know.
Helen says
There was
they
some
did do it in
plastic
ET,
stuff
right?
in ET, wasn't there?
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway, harrowing. Not as bad as that one where they're in the car at the end and he has bullets and he thinks the fog's coming. Yeah, you know the one. And he yeah.
Stephen King one. Stephen King
Yeah,
story, innit?
yeah. Was it the fog?
The mist.
The
Mist.
The mist.
Oh.
The fog. That's it. That's a Yorkshire thing. The fog.
The fog.
And you're going over at Pennines.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a the fog as well.
Yeah.
The fog.
No, the fog.
I don't watch any films anymore, man. It's like, have you seen? When you're going to see Oppenheimer?
Yeah, it's not out yet.
We're going to go and watch it, yeah.
Oh, it's not. It's not out
That's
yet.
our date night. We're going to see
Yeah,
IMAX.
if Ben will take me. He said he might dump me for his wife, though, so...
Oh, right, because your wife has a thing for
good films, yeah.
Killian.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cillian
Slim.
Murphy's in it. Yeah.
But he looks awfully thin.
I've always thought his face looked a bit weird, but I'm no judge of
Faces.
Why don't you take him to a film?
What, Cillian Murphy?
Yeah, take him.
He'll have seen it.
We're a famous podcast. We can make that happen.
I think we can, maybe.
We'll hit him up on LinkedIn.
Cardboard cut out.
Oh, here we go.
LinkedIn.
Oh, he's assuming character now.
Oh, God.
To be fair, I don't want to see Oppenheimer. I mean, as much as his films are good, it looks like a bit of a propaganda piece, doesn't it?
Oh.
Is it? But it's going to be an IMAX, so it'd be like
I'm sure it'll be good.
propaganda.
I'm sure, yeah. Because, I mean, his films are good, but it looks like a bit of a propaganda piece to me.
Do you
Well,
think?
I will have a propaganda at it.
Get everyone re-scared at nuclear bullshit threat coming from Russia.
Oh, shit, yeah, forget about that. Because I was scared about that. Maybe
Me too.
2 years ago.
Wow, scared my entire teenage years.
Oh yeah.
Terrified.
Oh, yeah.
Where the wind blows and all that.
Is that the one? Is there a cartoon? I can remember
That's
watching
it,
a
the
When the
cartoon.
Wind
Blows one, yeah.
And
Yeah, Captain
And also,
Planet.
interestingly, the guy, the Raymond Briggs guy, he made the snowman that got everyone comfortable with his animation. Then he brings out a fucking nuclear disaster film where there's an old man and woman hide under the door and all the teeth fall out.
That's it, yeah.
Thanks, Raymond.
The old bait and switch.
Yeah. So you watch that every Christmas and you think, fuck it, he's got another film out. Pop that
Is
up.
Alan Jones in it?
We're walking in the
We're walking on your skulls.
The one was, do you remember, Zed for Zachariah was Cut Me Deep as well.
Said for Zachariah.
Yeah.
What the fuck's that?
Zed for Zachariah. Have you never?
it?
It's a
I've not
book.
seen it.
It was
Oh.
a book, and I'm pretty sure they did like a 70s or an 80s adaptation of it. But that's based in like a nuclear wasteland. But this Zed lives in I can't remember. So a girl lives in this
Is
park,
it Zachariah?
and it has its own microclimate. And then this guy comes in from like the wasteland in his hazmat suit, and she like nurses him or whatever back to health, and then he like tries to rape her or something, and then he goes away again.
We had it with Mel
She goes
Gibson, didn't we? Thunderdome, Mad Max.
Well, yeah,
You know, that was our generation sort of post-apocalyptic programming, wasn't it? Mad Max.
Yeah.
Mad Maxwell.
But when we were at school, probably, what is it? There was two came out, weren't there? There were an American one, and there was one in Sheffield. Do you remember?
Oh, 28 degrees.
No.
28 days later.
No, way before that. We're talking 80s, mid 80s.
Oh, I thought you looked younger, Chris.
No, yeah, right in the height of the like Cold War stuff. They
Oh,
had
was
two.
it Threads?
Threads was
Threads,
one of them.
that's
That's
one,
right.
yeah.
That was the American one, and then there was an English one.
Threads West.
Do you remember? Because one of them showed a milk bottle melting on its doorstep, didn't it? And then
That's the
a woman pissing herself, and they were all trapped in a
milk bottle.
bunker somewhere. And
With the sheepinator.
I didn't sleep for weeks. Scared the shit out of me. That did.
Yeah, there's so many fucked up films from that.
And
sort of
everyone
era.
was talking about it at school the next day, and everyone was terrified. Could just drop a bomb any minute. I mean, what a way to fucking terrorise an entire nation of children.
I'll tell you what, though, it's interesting that, you know, from the 1960s onwards, we have sort of a counterpoint to this programming, and I would suggest that is Star Trek. Star Trek is like a communist utopia where all your needs are met. So you just hand your sovereignty over to Starfleet and they will look after you. We have replicator machines. There's no crime. It's like a perfect society. And it's interesting.
If you don't go along with the Federation, you're a Klingon, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, you're a Romulan.
You're a Romulan
yeah.
or you're a scumbag, yeah.
Enterprise, Kapla!
They kind of show it in the new films a bit, actually. They kind of hint towards that more than they did in the old stuff, don't they? That one when it's got Benedict Cumberbatch in it, and he's kind of he's what is it? Isn't it? Khan. Yeah, he's Khan. Sorry, Dom, you're surrounded by fucking film geeks by the looks of it. Be included, by the way.
Films. Films and music were my thing, but I just can't watch all.
No, just saying though, the new Star Trek films, fact, they basically show that Benedict Cumberbatch was a good guy, wasn't he, kind of, and he went against the Federation, so they went after him.
Funny you mentioned Benedict Cumberbatch. He played Alan.
Is that not how you say? Because I don't know how you say it.
I don't know how to say it, but it sounds good, doesn't it?
Custard
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah. He played Alan Turing in Enigma Code, didn't he? And he's actually bloodline related to Alan Turing.
What?
Right.
How about that one?
Typecast.
Yeah. Typecast, yeah.
You can't just drop that, Dom. How's he related?
Well, they're related. They've got a royal bloodline.
Benelin Cumberbatch.
But yeah, him. Yeah.
Bandersnatch. Benelin Bandersnatch.
Thundersnatch is.
He's got a royal bloodline.
Yeah.
So is it German or English or do you remember?
I'll tell you what. Let me have a look here.
Oh, we're gonna have to ask the Book of Knowledge.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'll tell you where it goes.
We haven't got a young Jamie, have we?
No.
But Dom's got a special. I imagine Dom's got a special service somewhere tucked away. It's offline for all my juicy nuggets of.
Well, Alan Turing goes
information.
back through King Henry VII, and they're all both related to Edmund Burford, the Duke of Somerset.
Oh, Wagwan fam, you're going to Somerset.
But yeah, they share the same, a similar bloodline. tend to find that as well. It's
What a
but I mean,
coincidence.
just the odds that he plays him and he's related to him. I mean, without it actually really being published, you'd think if they made that film, they would have publicised that part of it, wouldn't you?
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
I think he must be an intel op because he came out of nowhere. Benelin Cumberbatch, Bandersnatch. He came out of absolutely nowhere, and then all of a sudden, he's the hottest thing in Hollywood. And every Hollywood movie wants this unknown English actor.
I remember seeing
no
him
one's
in
ever
Tinker
heard of.
Tailor, Soldier Spy. Were in that one, wasn't it? With old Gary Oldman.
Funny, everyone who were in that film ended up being big names, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Gary Oldman already was, but all those people in that went on to be quite big stars.
I've not seen that one. Is that a Spielberg one?
It's a Jean Le Carré.
Jean Le Carré.
It's a little bit cerebral for you. That
John Le Carré worked for
too hard for me.
Yeah.
John Le Carré worked for military intelligence as well.
Yeah, that's where he got his ideas.
He worked for MI5 and MI6.
That's something I wanted to ask you, Dom. You know, when you were talking earlier about Orwell and Huxley and their intelligence agency connections, have you found any connections to the Beast, to Crowley? Between them two characters?
To be fair, he's going to come into it a little bit, but I haven't really done massive amounts of research on him, to be honest with you. I tend to go with the sort of flow of where it takes me.
Yeah.
It's like we came across some interesting Beatles info that ties in with some work that Mark Devlin and Dave McGowan and Mike Williams has done, didn't we, Chris? That we were speaking about that I don't really want to get into, but I do, but I don't. But
no, but save it.
Yeah, But what you're doing is filling little bits in, aren't you? And then obviously it led then into the reason I got to that part was that there was a link to Orwell and Columbia Records and things like this, and the Beatles were signed to Polydor, which was owned by Columbia. And anyway, George Martin worked for, so that's where it led down that. But on the Beatles, obviously, album, Sgt. Pepper, Crowley's on there, Huxley's on there. Yeah. There's a few people who are linked to Huxley on there as well. So it was quite an interesting, some of the gurus are on there that the Beatles, that we found that a lot of the gurus from India came from aristocratic families that worked for the British Raj. The family worked for the British Raj, and they were educated at Oxford and Cambridge. And then these gurus popped up that were teaching all this sort of Twilight language to the Beatles and things like that. But also, Yuri Bezmenov met the one that was the Beatles. The Beatle Maharishi Manesh or something like that, it was called. Anyway, I've got pictures of Yuri Bezmenov sat with him in the same time period the Beatles were with him. So KGB were interested in him as well. So all this stuff seems to link together to say there's some kind of mass psyop going on.
So those pictures, I guess, would be from the 60s. Would that be when Bezmenov was still in the KGB, or when after he defected?
Bezmenov was in the KGB in the part of the India office or wherever it were called.
Right.
Part of there.
That's how he escaped through.
That's how he escaped. Yeah, as a hippie.
Fucking hell!
Yeah, he escaped as a hippie.
So anyone who's listening who's never heard of Bezmenov, if you just go to YouTube and type in Yuri Bezmenov, you'll see all these lectures he's given where he breaks down how the sort of communist mind virus infects Western societies from the ground up, from the kids, from educational institutions, and all the rest of it, and how they were planning the downfall of Western society for decades in advance.
I think there's one on sheepfarm.co.uk in there.
Yeah, there's the full interview somewhere on there.
Yeah, but he's the one who famously said
with G. Edward Griffin.
We can convince, we can have a concentration camp there, and we want to get people to a state where we walk them up to the concentration camp and they deny it exists. That's what he famous said. I mean, we've seen a bit of that going on.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah, but yeah, so you know, all these things can't be just coincidental. That you got the KGB looking at all these gurus who are influencing all Western popular culture, and then when you read their plan, how they're going to take over the minds of people, it's exactly the same as what's really happened. Drug them, etc. You know, do it through music and films and art and things like that. I mean, going back to George Orwell, the rights to Animal Farm was sold to the CIA. It's common knowledge. So Animal Farm was the animated film was funded by the CIA.
Didn't know that.
No.
And you got two of the most famous dystopian novels written by two guys who knew each other. And those two books just happen to be in every school in the country.
To be honest, it kind of makes sense because 1984 was written in 1948, so I'm guessing the animated film was maybe 5 or 10 years later. It's the height of the Red Terror. It was during the height of McCarthyism, where the United States, they were offering anyone who smells communist. We want to know. We want your name.
But it's not
on the
now,
list.
is it? It's not now, and they're still
it's
teaching it in
underground
schools.
now.
They're still teaching it in schools, though.
Yeah. Now it's just at your daycare and your nurseries and your primary schools and all the rest of it.
And 1984 was used by the Information Research Department of the British Intelligence Services to push the agenda around the world as well. So these things were sold to and funded by. So you have to ask yourself, when you look at Orwell's work, and Aldous Huxley, and Chris pointed this out, that you look at their work early on, and then you look at their work, just let's say Orwell's last two books, 1984, Animal Farm, Wigan Pier and all these other things were like biography type. Social commentary. And the last two were totally different. And likewise with Aldous Huxley, a lot of his books, totally different from his social commentary or his experimentation with LSD and stuff like that. And so you've got to ask yourself, there's one story I will tell. His first wife, Orwell's first wife, Eileen O'Shaughnessy, her school, she went back to her school when she was 29 because it was their 50th anniversary, Sunderland High School or something like that. And they wanted to work out, wanted some writings about 50 years ahead, which were 1984. This was before she met him, right? Bear this in mind. And she wrote a poem called 1984 before she met George Orwell.
Yeah. Coincidence, fair.
Just a coincidence.
You read too much into the feud.
Yeah, stay up at night. the one thing I will say about Orwell is his genealogy is off the charts of anything I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah, we discuss as well. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, Orwell, I mean, there's like 2 pictures of him exist, maybe 3. Yeah. There's no video of him, no audio of him. You start to get even the thought that maybe did he exist as we're told? I mean, it'd be easy to cover up in them days that this character maybe exists for a period of time and then he didn't, or who knows? You know?
A lot of people are saying, I've heard people say, Eric Blair, he's related to Tony Blair. Well, he's not related to Tony Blair. There's a caveat on that, but he's not related to Tony Blair because Tony Blair isn't a Blair. No. Tony Blair comes from his father was adopted, so he comes from a totally different lineage. His mum and dad, his grandma and granddad were vaudeville actors and actresses, and it's his grandma of that side that has the royal lineage back to Charlemagne. So she was called Birdswell or something like that. So that she's got the lineage back to Charlemagne through to, I think it's King Charles of Scotland and all the way through to Charlemagne and obviously on and on and on. Is it King Charles? Not King Charles, James.
King James the First, or James?
Is it James? Anyway, I think it's one of the kings of Scotland. It's James, I think it is.
Oh, that's terrifying! Like you can trace Tony Blair back to Charlemagne. It's like fucking hell, like the first Holy Roman Emperor. You know,
which then goes back to the Troys and the Phoenicians. It is linked to all that stuff.
Nice. Have you?
So is Ibiza. Ibiza's linked to the Phoenicians.
Well, the nightclubs.
Well, Ibiza was taken over by the Phoenicians going back.
And even the Venga boys were related to the Freemasons as well.
Brilliant. I believe it. Have you guys looked into the beat poets?
Yes.
Like William Burroughs and Kerouac and all those guys?
We did a bit in the first Orwell one, didn't we? Not Orwell, Brave New World Order. But it was only a play around because it led into the Esalen Clinic and things like that. But what like we were saying, when I start planning these things out, it doesn't actually go the way you sort of expect it to go. And so the Beat Poets is one of those ones where I want to go deeper into the...
It seems like a movement. It seems like a psychological operation stroke movement.
It certainly was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
more than anything else I've looked at, definitely.
Yeah. Would you count Charles Bukowski in that? Would you? Do you think?
Bukowski, yeah, maybe. Wasn't he a bit...
So he was a poet more than anything, I suppose.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your Fear and Loathing guy, what's it called? Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson, yeah.
He's not a beat guy, but he's
He's
No,
not.
but I think he falls into that.
Yeah.
Gonzo.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like adrenochrome. So if you read Doors of Perception on page 3, Huxley mentions adrenochrome.
Right,
And
does it?
yeah.
In what context? So?
Oh, it feels great. No, he talks about it's the oxidization of adrenaline. He mentions it, and that
Right,
it's-
so he's then talking about that is interesting.
Oh, yeah,
talking about a drug that were invented by those conspiracy.
Oh,
nut
it's
jobs.
a conspiracy theory drug, except that Aldous Huxley mentions it in the ninth.
Well,
Right. And it's then referenced by Hunter S. Thompson in Fear
Yeah.
and Loathing.
Loathing, yeah.
So
I knew
in
that
Fear
bit.
and Loathing, that's the thing he's after. Adrenochrome, I want adrenochrome. You know, Johnny
Hunter
Depp.
S. Thompson was a security guard at the Esalen Institute.
There we go. Knew there'd be
Prior
something.
to it being the Esalen Institute, when it was a gay hot bath steam club.
Gay bathhouse.
Yes.
Because Biden knows all about them as well, doesn't he? The gay bathhouses.
And Hunter S. Thompson was
Hunter Biden S. Thompson.
at the Lackland Air Force Base when Jolly West was there, who was part of the MK Ultra operations.
Who's Johnny? Who's Jolly West?
Jolly West was part of Sidney Gottlieb's team in the MK Ultra operation.
So he
And
was
he-
a scientist, was he, rather than a participant?
Yeah, he tested obviously LSD on that, and during his time there was a story of I suppose he was part of the Air Force, walking out of a woods covered in blood, and I think a 4-year-old girl had gone missing, something like that. And they found a body in the woods.
He was also
and he couldn't remember who he was, where he was, but he'd been suffering from blinding headaches without going into loads of detail.
And that was
months
Biden.
before. Yeah. I don't
Sounds
think
like
Biden-
Hunter Biden.
But Hunter S. Thompson was at Lackland Air Force Base when all this was going on.
And they were mentioned in the, whether it's true or not, mentioned in the Franklin cover-up. Some kid said he was making videoing kids getting raped and murdered. Obviously, there's no proof that it's just a comment.
So we went into Hunter S. Thompson quite a bit in the first or the second one. I can't remember which it was, part 2 or part 1, episode 1 or episode 2. Sorry, of the Brave New World Order, and we go into that story in detail where he's there at the base at the time where they're doing all the part of the MK Ultra operation, and then you get in a lot of these people around within like Leary and people like this who were working with Aldous Huxley at some of these during some of these operations, and a lot of the other people. Ken Kesey, he was part of it as well.
Ken Kesey, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's right. Yeah. He was part of the experimentation, really. But
Part of the MK Ultra program, wasn't it? He volunteered, I think.
he volunteered.
Which is loosely based on what One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was in a mental asylum getting shocked.
So a lot of these films that we're watching are obviously you've got to what are they actually sending out? What messages are they really? We call the second one Twilight language because the Twilight language means it's like a Machiavellian language. It's a language that they might be talking like we are now, just honestly, but they actually mean something else. They're talking about a totally different thing.
Double speak.
Double
Speak, wordplay, yeah, spelling.
Yeah. And so it's there's a lot more going on, methinks, behind the scenes with these screenwriters and things like that. Because you hear of films, don't you? You think, well, why haven't they made a film about that book? But they can't get the screenplay right, or they can't get the script right. They always say these type of things, and maybe that is the case. Maybe they can't get the script right for that particular book because it doesn't translate correctly in the spell words that they want to use. Maybe, I don't know.
I wonder what message the Barbie film is going to send out next week.
Well, to AstraZeneca, the weapons that kill, she had a Barbie made after her, didn't she? So maybe it's that.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if that's going to be in the movie.
That might be in the movie.
Dame Sarah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Barbie doll.
Mad.
She ain't no Barbie doll.
Maybe she's wearing a pearl necklace.
Someone threw up in the chat earlier. Interestingly, yesterday the Unabomber died. Ted Kaczynski. Have you been following that?
No, I didn't follow that. No.
Have you?
I don't watch TV or news, so.
Have you read the Unabomber manifesto?
No.
Yeah,
I might have done years ago.
I've heard of it. I won't say I know it.
It's really interesting. It's quite prophetic. I'll send you some links and
We're
some
like
audio.
Boris Johnson's.
Oh, Jimmy Cranky's gone today as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Nicola the Sturgeon. She's gone. She's been arrested.
Oh, she was released today without charge.
Oh no, I just saw that she'd been arrested today. Has she been released?
She got arrested ages ago, didn't she? But she's been released without charge pending further investigation.
When did she get arrested?
That's what I read, anyway.
Pending further cover-ups.
Yeah.
Arrested for what? What's the charge for being arrested?
Just being just a shit Urdu, I think. That's all they could get her on. She's not corrupt. She's just got a bad Urdu.
That's called the German Merkel haircut. There's nothing wrong with that haircut.
The Merkel.
The Merkel.
You're having a Merkel.
All I can remember is there was a mobile home parked on someone's mum's driveway.
Yeah, that was the new guy
that had never been used or something.
Honestly,
part of COVID.
That's such the thinnest layer of shit that the investigative journalists are allowed to peel away.
Yeah.
You have no concept of how corrupt these fucking cunts are, and they're all the same. It's like left wing, right wing, same bird. They're all the same.
Corrupts, absolutely.
Yeah, throw them all in the sea. I don't care if it's Jimmy Cranky or Keir Starmer. You know, she hasn't called me, I can blame. Bojo the fucking clown, they're all the same. Chuck them in the fucking sea. Leave us alone.
Well, they've got everyone focusing on this bullshit story and that bullshit one about Boris Johnson. But not focusing on any of the real stuff.
No. We won't talk about excess deaths. It's only 1,000 people a week in the middle of summer.
But let's
2
worry.
years
It doesn't matter, does
after,
it?
3
What's
years after a
1,000 people?
pandemic. Yeah, it's nothing. Don't worry about that. We'll
Worry about if Boris Johnson had a fucking party.
Right.
It's ridiculous to say it out loud, isn't it?
Hey, chaps, we've gone over an hour already. I could talk to you guys all night because it's fantastic. And we will see you soon. We'll see you a week on Monday.
Yeah, definitely.
It's at Lytham St. Anne's. That's all right, isn't it, Matt? You go to Lytham quite often. It's quite nice, isn't it?
Lytham and St. Anne's is a very nice place, yeah. I'd recommend both places.
Just not where we're going.
Well, no, I imagine it will be full of free thinkers and,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
and lunatics. Yeah.
Oh, they're the worst.
Toxic conspiracy
Wear some
nut
trousers, Matt,
jobs.
won't you?
I might get lost if I wear my trousers.
Yeah.
Lost in the folds.
Well, we should sign off for this part. It's been a pleasure again, Dom and Chris. Nice
been
to meet
great, guys.
you again.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
And,
you.
See you again, guys.
Yes,
It's been a
Stone-
pleasure.
Stone
See you
live
soon.
with us
Take it easy.
for
Cheers,
1
guys.
minute. We'll see you a week on Monday.
Ciao. Right.
This is the Sheepinator 2030. It makes me go, bah. Go and fuck yourself.